Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Friday, September 16, 2022. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Timothy Anthony, is recommending greater focus on this country's digital economy to boost its growth potential, especially in light of its youthful population. During an interview broadcast last evening on SVG-TV, Governor Anthony said this was among several recommendations made to the government and was one of the most important.
By 2025, 25% of the global economy is going to be digital. If that is the case, we have to prepare ourselves to be part of the digital economy. And as I always say, not merely as consumers, but as producers in the digital economy. So digital readiness in terms of skills, platforms, obviously connectivity, and then you have to look at safeguards like cybersecurity, those and data privacy. All of those are enablers and safeguards for the digital economy. And when you think about the youthful population here, it's so important for us to be able to give them the ability to play in that space. And so that is one of the key recommendations. They're already moving in that direction, but we've encouraged faster progress there because we believe that is key to the long-term viability of the Vincentian economy.
Another recommendation highlighted was to focus on food and nutrition security. Governor Anthony said St. Vincent and the Grenadines is blessed as it relates to agriculture production. However, according to him, the food import bill is still too high. He said one of the key recommendations is to encourage greater domestic food production and less importation of food.
And so we made the point in our various engagements that to tackle the food import bill and to try to meet that target of reducing it by 25% by 2025, we must tackle three key categories of food: meat, grain, which includes our cereals, our breakfast products, and fruits and vegetables. If we have to make a dent on the food import bill, we have to tackle meat, grains, and fruits and vegetables. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines is well placed to help lead that charge. So we want to see more push in that direction. Clearly with the volcano there's a rebuilding, the eruption, a replanting that has to be done with agriculture. We understand that the breadbasket was hit hard, but we believe that it is feasible and we are encouraging, of course, that replanting happen.
The governor, however, said he was pleased with the growth performance of the country in spite of the COVID-19 situation and eruption of La Soufrière volcano. Governor Anthony noted that SVG did not contract as sharply as other countries in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union as a result of less dependency on tourism.
We found, for example, in 2020, where the ECCU contracted by 17%, 1-7. St. Vincent and the Grenadines contracted only by about 5%. And then, of course, last year you had the very difficult year with the volcano. That would have set you back in the middle of a pandemic, no less. But this year, we're seeing growth we forecast of about 6% for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And next year, about 4%. A lot of that is construction. And we want to encourage those projects to be implemented. And of course, there are other things that we need to work on.
Residents and motorists in the red and orange zones are being put on alert for bad weather over the weekend. The SVG Met Office issued a notice today as a tropical storm Fiona continues its westward path towards the Leeward Islands. A reduction in the wind speed can be expected along with warm and humid conditions, as well as pockets of moderate showers and possible isolated thunderstorms anticipated late Friday afternoon. The Met Office also advises the sporadic episodes of showers from bands associated with Fiona can be expected on Saturday and Sunday as it continues on a northwestward track across the northern Leeward Islands. Models suggest conditions could improve by Monday evening. Unstable conditions could trigger a few additional showers. Small craft operators and sea bathers are being urged to exercise caution for breaking waves and rip currents, especially on the eastern coast. There will be no significant dust haze intrusion during this forecast period. Prime Minister Dr. Al Gonsalves has outlined what he describes as tentative lessons from CSEC as he sought to offer an explanation for the decline in the percentage passes in this year's exams. Speaking on Shake Up this morning, Prime Minister Gonsalves drew comparison between this year's exam results and the 2019 results, where 2 papers were offered. Among the central facts that the Prime Minister says needed to be taken into consideration is the fact that SVG missed 2 years of face-to-face instruction due to COVID-19 and the Laissez Faire eruptions. He further noted that the government provided devices for all to use online to teach and learn, but some people did not take it seriously.
Just as we were saying, and you remember me saying it over and over, that the families of the students and the students themselves and the teachers who insisted that the online exercise be taken seriously and took it seriously will do well.
Yes.
But those families, those parents who did not have the students, their children use the devices appropriately, or if the parents didn't go and monopolize the devices, the tablets, and if they insisted that the children log on, and some teachers were very comfortable with the online and some not comfortable, so we had unevenness. And I believe that that contributed greatly to the deficit that we see in the pass mark.
The results released by the Ministry of Education yesterday show that SVG achieved a pass rate of 66.5% this year, down from 83.48% in 2021, which represents a decline of 16.83%. In 2020, SVG achieved a pass rate of 81.86%. The top 5 schools this year are the Girls High School, which obtained a pass rate of 96.88%, the St. Vincent Grammar School 91%, St. Joseph Convent Kingstown 82.24%, Beckway Seventh-day Adventist School 81.2%, and St. Martin's Secondary School with 80.95%. The top female performer is Chinese Harper of the Girls High School, who sat 15 subjects and obtained 15 grade 1s. The top male performer is Kenyu Child of the St. Vincent Grammar School, who sat 12 subjects and obtained 12 grade 1s. In other news now, the government has restarted its commitment to allocate additional financial resources to local small businesses. This from Minister of Finance and Economic Planning Camilla Gonsalves, who delivered the featured address at the Grant Awards ceremony for the Women's Empowerment Project on Thursday. The project, funded by the Republic of China and Taiwan and run by the Center for Enterprise Development, the CED, will provide grants to 38 female entrepreneurs totaling 280,000 EC dollars. In his remarks, Minister Gonsalves stressed the importance of small businesses for the economic growth of SVG. He adds studies have shown that female-led businesses that receive economic support often perform better than businesses headed by men.
60% of the small businesses are led by women. And what we have learned, and we discussed this with the ambassador, is that when grants are provided, women-led small businesses do a better job with the money than male-led small businesses. The facts are that when grants are provided to small businesses led by women, this is true in St. Vincent, it's true in India, it's true in Bangladesh, it's true all around the world, it's true in Africa, that the small businesses led by women tend to put the money to better use. So when you check in on these businesses a year later and 5 years later, it turns out that the women-led small businesses who receive grants, more of them have survived, more of them have expanded, more of them have thrived. So it's a good investment in the economy to invest in businesses that are led by women. We can't recover without small businesses. And small businesses can't recover without the strong and active presence of women who are willing to put in the work to make their businesses a success. And I want to thank all of you for taking the chances. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It is unreliable. It is scary sometimes. And there are a lot of people who have an idea but never act on it because it is so scary to take that leap. And all of you are extremely brave people. And I want to applaud you for taking the initiative, working on your idea, taking the leap into business, and doing the work that the Center for Enterprise Development had you do to get to this point today. I'm very, very proud of the work that you've done.
Minister Gonzalez reveals that the cohort of grant recipients will be given the opportunity to display their goods and services at the Everything Vinci Expo, which is being staged for the first time since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We started under my ministry a couple of years ago, a little expo called Everything Vinci. Some of you have heard of it. I know some of you have displayed at Everything Vinci in the past. We're bringing Everything Vinci back this year, and I want you to know that we're trying to make a special provision for the recipients of these grants to display their work at Everything Vinci without the costs involved at displaying at Everything Vinci.
Local female entrepreneurs have received a much-needed financial boost amounting to over $250,000 EC by way of the Republic of China and Taiwan. Taiwan, along with the Center for Enterprise Development, the CED, implemented the Women's Empowerment Project, which sees 38 female entrepreneurs awarded grants to assist with business development. The grant award ceremony was held at the Kingstone Baptist Church on Thursday, September 15th. General Manager of the CED, Felix Lewis, notes the micro, medium, and small enterprises sector suffered a significant hit during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic and the eruption of La Soufrière volcano. He says in light of the fact that females were more adversely affected than males, the program is both timely and beneficial.
The recent past has been a challenging period, contextualized by the COVID pandemic, the volcanic eruption in St. Vincent's case, and more recently, the global effects of the war on Ukraine. In this context, this intervention is very timely, very needed, and very appreciated. The WP project began with the first 3 cohorts in the last quarter of 2021 and is due to be completed by the end of the year 2022. To date, a total of $340,000 in grants have been disbursed to cohorts in the first cohort of the beneficiaries of the WP project. The second cohort has been significantly increased in numbers, from 27 in cohort 1 to 38 in cohort 2. The total amount of grants awarded to be awarded today is in excess of $250,000 EC. This does not include the grant amounts to be awarded to the 3 winners in the business plan competition, which will be $26,000 each. The WP program was designed to address critical capacity gaps in the female MSME sector in the management and production areas. Other components of the project address the supply side gaps in business support and financial institutions to improve the business support services and access to finance respectively.
Lewis explains the entrepreneurs receive training in a number of areas so as to improve the likelihood of the long-term success. He encourages the grant recipients to use the knowledge gained to work towards the stability of their businesses.
The training that the WP project for the beneficiaries here included introduction to entrepreneurship, selecting a business idea, selling and customer service, government and your business, HR management for small business owners, And then we had the total quality management for financial institutions was about to be implemented, writing a business plan, record keeping, costing and pricing. The project therefore targets a weak area of the entrepreneurial ecosystem to improve sustainability, competitiveness and profitability of the targeted sector. In that way, the prospects of long-term success in business is enhanced. I wish to encourage the awardees to embrace and, more importantly, to implement the ideas, knowledge, skills and tools that were imparted in these training sessions. I want you to effectively use the grant to take your business to the next level and to build back better and smarter for sustainable success.
Meanwhile, Taiwan's ambassador to SVG, Peter Shiley Lan, commended the group for advancing through the selection process. He advises the entrepreneurs to use the grant funding wisely and effectively.
As a proud sponsor of this program, I just want to be here on behalf of the people and the government of Taiwan to say that we are proud to be good friend of St. Vincent and Grenadines for the past 41 years. This is just a small testament to that, and we will continue to work with you side by side. No matter how bad the weather is, we work together hand in hand. All right? And I think one thing we have to remember, all you ladies here today, you obviously already know what you're doing. You have your own business, you have your business plan. This program is just to enhance your capabilities, and then today finally we'll be able to contribute a small angels funding, should I say, to help you further boost your business in hand. So I think, as the old saying goes, you don't give people fish, you teach them how to catch fish. Right? This is exactly what this program is about.
Businesses in the agro-processing sector are poised to benefit from a small business grant program announced today, September 16th, by the industry unit within the Ministry of Agriculture. According to a release issued by the Ministry of Agriculture, the program was specially developed by the units to help agro-processors in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to improve their competitiveness. Under the Small Grants Program, the industry unit will award grants of $2,000 for product development, packing and labeling innovation, and product testing. Entrepreneurs and agro-processors applying for grants are required to have their business legally registered at the Commercial and Intellectual Property Office, CIPO. The business must be operating in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and must not have more than an annual turnover of $50,000. Applicants must be working along with or indicate commitment to working along with the Center for Enterprise Development, Inc., CED, and the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Bureau of Standards, and must submit to verification and consultative visits by the SVG Bureau of Standards and the CED, respectively. The program will also provide capacity building trainings to successful applicants who must attend and successfully complete a basic business skills development training program with the CED. Application forms are available at the industry unit located on the second floor of the National Insurance Services building in Kingston or at the CED office on Grenfell Street. Applications close on September 30th. Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gamsavs is scheduled to leave the state on Sunday for extensive duties abroad. Speaking on WeFM Shake-Up program today, the Prime Minister announced that among the many things he is scheduled to do overseas is to address the United Nations General Assembly on Saturday.
I arrived in New York at 5:30. Several organizations, international organizations, doing a number of things, UN agencies of one kind or another. So I'm involved in a lot of things and bilateral meetings. It's a hectic week. In fact, I leave tomorrow evening for Trinidad. I catch the Cal plane just after midnight for New York. I arrive in New York at 5:30, I'm told, in the morning. And I have a speaking engagement at 8:15 that same morning. I mean, I just have time to go and show at the hotel and change and rush off to the event. When I leave New York on the 25th, by the way, there's an event which is going to involve Vincentians. I'm told a kind of meet and greet. I can't remember the date, but I know it's happening that week. And also night in the week, my most recent book is going to be formally launched. I understand that they have a couple of distinguished personages who are going to be there, including discussion on the book itself. That's what I've been advised. I don't know all the arrangements. But the book I haven't seen the finished book yet, but I've seen a photograph of the cover. So apparently they have copies already in New York. And then at the end of the trip in New York, whilst I'm on the road, I'm going off to London to go to Wales, to go to University of Wales, Trinity St. David, where I go in the day, have a program on the 27th and on the 28th, and then have something back in London, and then I come home.
A female American tourist died yesterday after allegedly falling ill on the Lasso Freire hiking trail. Unconfirmed reports are that the lady died on arrival to the Georgetown Medical Facility. St. Vincent and the Grenadines' Lasso Freire volcano is a popular hiking spot for visitors and residents. However, the Lasso Freire trail site has been closed to visitors since the eruptions of Lasso Freire volcano. In May 2020, persons were again warned to desist going to that site after a hiker went missing. The National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority said at that time that the trail remains closed and people who hike the mountain do so at their own risk. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is investigating the circumstances surrounding the death. Students of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College, Marika Baptiste, placed second in the 2022 Caribbean Tourism Organization CTO Regional Youth Congress. Baptiste represented the multi-island destination SVG as this year's Junior Minister of Tourism. Marika Baptiste competed against 10 impressive and remarkable junior ministers and commissioners throughout the region. Anna Harvey, representative of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation and on Agriculture, ICA, said Baptiste delivered a riveting presentation on the topic related to agriculture and tourism, agro-tourism. Supplying locally produced food to luxury hotels and cruise ships benefits both the tourism industry and the agriculture sector. In her presentation, she identified two possible challenges to pursuing the strategy and recommended two achievable solutions as viable options for the 32 islands and keys. Baptiste will perform the role of junior minister for 1 year. In her capacity, she is expected to implement a tourism project at her school or in her community, as well as play an integral role in the development of the tourism and hospitality industry. Communications Manager and Country Coordinator Joeline Charles Scott, in her congratulatory remarks, said they are proud of her superb presentation and representation of the destination at the Congress. She added that the ministry is always pleased to invest in the youth of this country and will continue to provide opportunities so that they could have an input in the development of the tourism and hospitality industry. Anil Beach Tourism Education Officer at the Ministry of Tourism was this year's chaperone to the CTO Regional Tourism Youth Congress, which was held in the Cayman Islands on September 15th. A doctor in the Ministry of Health is urging Vincentians to get a full-body screening, which may help to prevent illness or aid with the early detection of a disease. Speaking on radio this morning, District Medical Officer for the Kingstown District, Dr. Jashika Williams, outlined the importance of persons getting a full body screening done. She said that it may be a little costly, but being able to detect diseases in their early stage is more important.
It's important to screen early, to check yourself early.
It's important to screen early because these diseases at times are very silent, so you don't know you have them, right? And what we find at clinic at times, persons only show up at clinic because they're now having symptoms of something, right? And as I said before, these diseases are responsible for a lot of deaths. So the earlier you screen, you're able to assist persons in helping them to treat risk factors, provide areas where if you identify something that's wrong, you can offer counseling, they can get assistance with dietary counseling, we can organize exercise programs for them. The earlier you treat, you manage the risk factors, and also you decrease the severity of illness. So no longer are you waiting for someone to get sick, right, but you pick up these underlying conditions in screening, and you're able to decrease the severity of their illness.
Non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and cholesterol are mainly some of the diseases persons should screen for regularly. The doctor explained that these diseases can further develop and cause more serious problems for persons.
So for example, it is said globally that these diseases cause so many deaths among persons. It's like 70% of the deaths that occur throughout the world are due to these diseases. So that is a tremendous deal. Also, you'd find that most of these diseases affect persons in low-income, middle-income, low-income countries, and we fall into that category. And, if we just simply ask someone in St. Vincent, like your family history, what's your background, they'll be able to tell you, well, my mother has sugar, my father has sugar, and it seems like a lot of persons, so that therefore their risk increases. And interesting enough, these diseases are things where we have control over, So the risk factors, the major risk factors for these diseases would be smoking, the use of cigarettes and so forth, physical activity, inactivity rather, lack of
exercise,
physical exercise, the use of alcohol or the abuse of alcohol, and unhealthy diets, basically. So that's why it's non-communicable. It's something that we could control, but at times the knowledge may not be there to assist persons.